Thank you for coming on Easter. Wow, that's pretty awesome. Welcome to my house. Welcome to my office. My birds are going to sing for us all during the class, so not many classes that do you get serenaded during training, right? So I hope you all had a good Easter and with family and friends. And if not, if you were alone like me, that's kind of why I'm doing this today, because I like to do something special on a holiday when other singles are alone and don't get to be with anyone. So why not have a party, right? So when I made this date for this first class, I didn't realize it was Easter, and then I thought, yeah, I'm going to do it anyway. All right. So it's a beautiful day here in Southern Cal. Let's see. 70 degrees for the high today. So it's like kind of like perfect. Hey, Tony Love, welcome. I'm excited about this class because it's information that I'd be surprised if you've heard before. So it's not your typical thing. It's not a diet. It's not the same old, same old. Hey, Nia, there she is. Now we can start. These are principles that I was given, and they work for me. So I've done this several times, and I will explain to you why I've had to redo it because of, life, the way life goes, and you all know that how it works out, and you lose weight and then you gain it back because you have an unbalanced life, and I'll explain that in a minute. So this is just step one. So this is free for everybody. I just wanted to come out with something free so that you could see where we're headed with this and why it works. This is like a good foundation for why it works. Okay, so the class itself is going to be like 10 principles, keys that God has given me that are unusual, unique, and it's not a diet. You can add aspects of different kinds of things that we're going to, details we're going to mention, but it's principles and understanding of why we gain and why we can't lose. And so, all right, so we're going to get started. So I mentioned the reason I'm doing this today is because I always want to do something special on a holiday for those who are alone for the holidays. And then other people can just catch up later. And I also want to clarify that today is a free class that leads into the main supernatural weight loss class for $33.33. And that class starts on the 25th. So anybody who missed today, they're not missing out because you are going to be able to watch this indefinitely. So I'll make a permanent video out of it and put it on the Supernatural Weight Loss Facebook group page. So why is it that weight loss is spiritual? Well, I mentioned earlier in another live Facebook video that we're spirits, and so everything we do is spiritual. And to downplay weight loss like an earthly, fleshly thing is not going to help us. It's not valid. We have to look at it differently. And so what happens is our spirit is perfect. It knows all things. It knows everything. It knows the truth about everything. But our soul is at war with our spirit. So our soul goes by feelings, and the body is attached to that. And so the body and the soul have a war going on against the spirit. And so you believe the truth and you keep saying the truth, but the body and soul are saying, nope, I don't buy it because I still have the scars embedded in the cells. And so when there is this war going on the inside, there's specific misconceptions of childhood that are embedded in the cells that cause the body to put on weight. And so, even the Bible says in 3 John 1:2 that, beloved, I would that you prosper in everything, even as your soul prospers, or be in health, even as your soul is healthy. But if the soul believes lies from childhood, then it isn't going to be healthy in that area. Okay, so I've mentioned many times that I have pulled 37 lies out of myself, and I'm still pulling. So anytime I have a physical or emotional issue, I know there's a misconception from childhood when it started. And I'll ask God to lead me back to that time when it began. And once we get there, we can pull it and replace it with the truth that sets you free, because the truth will always set you free in every area of life. So we can be set free in the area of weight as well. And so, the Bible also says that we perish for lack of knowledge. And I like to say we perish for lack of knowledge of the truth that sets us free. All right, and so we are perishing in many ways, physically, emotionally, financially, and relationally. And perishing means we're being destroyed, or we're suffering in all of these ways wherever there's a misconception from childhood. And so some of the common misconceptions in childhood that affect weight are fear. And so fear of abandonment, fear of being unprotected, fear of not being good enough, fear of low self-worth, so you think you don't deserve nurture, so you haven't received nurture from others, and you don't do it for yourself because you don't think you have worth. You don't deserve it. Everyone else counts but you. So that was one of my lies. That was one of my big lies that was ruining my life, because whatever lies you believe, they have a voice and they go out into the spirit realm, and other people's spirits hear them and they answer your lie in the way it expects to be answered. And they don't even know why they're doing it. I mean, they may treat you in a way that they're surprised at. And I have had some people say to me, Teresa, every time you walk into the room, I'm immediately against you, and I don't understand that because I love you. What is that? And it's because my lie was coming out and affecting her, and she was a very spiritual person, and she was picking up on it and thinking, wait a minute, this isn't right. This doesn't work. Because I love her, so she was confused. So I pulled that lie, and it completely changed my life overnight. And then I held it steady, because, when you believe a lie, you come into, you're created with this perfect DNA, this perfect balance and alignment in your body, soul, and spirit. But as soon as you enter into the womb, you begin to warp based on hearing mom and dad talk, hearing the news that mom and dad are listening to, and different things, and you begin to be afraid, and you begin to believe a lie, and so it warps your destiny. It warps your off alignment. So a lot of times, that's why children are born with defects, because they began to believe a lie in the womb. But God did not send them in there defective. He did not send them in there with defects. And so all we have to do is pull the lie that caused it, replace it with the truth, and we can realign it. Okay? So if you have a fear of any kind, it will cause a cortisol drip into the gut, and then you get a belly on you. And there's all kinds of methods to try to get that off, but if you go right to the root, then you don't have to do all that stuff. I mean, that's it. Aren't you tired of one more diet, of one more way to do it? And I'll just be honest with you, I hate bondage. I hate anything that confines. I want to live in joy and freedom. And that means I don't want a bunch of set of rules of things that I have to eat and times I have to eat and all of this. I want it to be as easy and free, and I want it to be a lifestyle so that after I lose it, I don't regain it, because I keep that healthy, balanced lifestyle. So there are diets that are good. They're helpful. People swear by them. They lose a lot of weight. But for me personally, I cannot come under rules and regulations. I cannot. I have to be free. And if occasionally I want to have some ice cream, I'm going to have some ice cream. However, I do have Coconut Bliss ice cream that doesn't have all the bad stuff in it, and it's actually good for you, and it tastes fabulous, just like regular ice cream. So anyway, I won't get on that soapbox right now about GMOs in all your food, but I will later, because eating genetically modified foods will give you weight that you cannot get off. That's what it does, because the body doesn't know what to do with it. All right, it's not, the chains are broken. It's not understandable by the body to know what to do with, so it stores it. It will upset your gut. If your gut is upset, you will not lose weight. It will upset your brain chemistry. So yeah, we'll get into that in the class, but moving on. I just want to be free and not have to be in some kind of a strict diet. So we have fears of abandonment. If you have this sense of abandonment, you're not going to feel protected in life. And if you don't feel protected in life, your body will put on weight because it's trying to protect itself. That's just the way it is. So you have to find out why you don't feel protected. And let me tell you, if you have insomnia, you don't feel protected. Something happened in childhood that made you afraid, and your body is on hypervigilance to stay awake so that you're safe, so that you can make sure nothing happens. There's a reason. You don't want to take a drug to make yourself fall asleep and never address it. You're just postponing the problem, and other issues will develop. The older you get, the more it develops if it's not dealt with. All right, so then there's, when people come to me and one of the tap roots, I'll ask for 3 negative emotions from them, and they'll give me, let's say, anxiety, fear, depression. Well, we know that fear is the tap root because it causes the other 2. And if we pull the reason for the fear, the other 2 will go too. They'll be gone. You won't be anxious anymore. You won't be depressed anymore because we got to the root of it. All right, so fear, no matter what it is about, will always cause an excess cortisol to drip. And when we get into the class, if you are a part of the class, I'm going to tell you how to deal with the cortisol while we're trying to pull the root, and there's essential oil that will address it and help it not deposit in the gut. So I just found out about this, so I'm excited about that. Another reason for the belly to gain the weight is lack of self-nurture. And again, that's based on a lie you believe, that you don't deserve it or that you never got it. And so you were taught that you don't deserve it. And so that's what, there's an emotional root to weight gain in certain body parts. So in the belly, it's not being nurtured. And so many times women are never nurtured. And that's why when they come for a healing weekend here, we nurture them on every sensory realm you can imagine. And they cry because they've never been nurtured. And that's got to stop. If you want to be balanced and healthy, and for your physical issues to stop screaming inside your body, you have to self-nurture. All right, so we'll talk about that in the class. Let me just give you another one. Big thighs, that's packed childhood anger. And it's not a sin. It's not, you know, we always look at anger as some kind of sin, and we feel guilty about it. There's a reason it's there, and it's not your fault. And so we can go back and find out why it's there and relieve it. All right, so, and then depression. Depression will always cause weight gain. And, you know, I already mentioned how it's not the taproot, so we go back, you know, further before the depression. But if we get the beginning of when the depression started, then we get the depression as well. But this is what happens when you have depression. Depression happens when you are not allowed to fulfill your destiny. Where you were not validated in childhood, you were not celebrated, your destiny was not allowed, you were controlled, you were put in someone else's mold and fought. Your destiny was fought. It always is, actually. But the higher your calling and the higher the calling is in as far as a leadership position, the worse it's fought. And so when leaders come to me, they have the most physical issues because they've been through hell. All right. So the depression causes you to cast off your hope because it seems hopeless. And when that happens, of course, you're not going to take care of your body. You're not going to self-nurture, and you're not going to do the things you used to do. You know, like when you're young, you have the energy to exercise and do all the right things that keep the weight off. But as you age, if you don't deal with your with your the misconceptions of childhood, it will cause you to get more and more depressed and more angry and gain more and more weight. So there's a verse in Proverbs 29:18 that says, where no vision is, the people cast off restraint. And so vision means divine communication, dreams, your dreams. You think they're gone. You think they died. You think they were robbed from you. And so it's too late now. You think all these lies about yourself, and you think you can't do it now. There's not enough money. There's not enough time. I'm not in my prime anymore. I lost my prime. No, you didn't. Earth life lies. The earthlings say that prime is what? I don't know. In your 30s, in your 40s. Prime time in the kingdom is between 50 and 85. So you're not late. You're right on time. And everything you've gone through up to this point was training, and you passed. I know you passed because you're still standing. I know you passed because you still love him. Even in the midst of the contradiction of everything you believe, you still believe. That means you passed. And he's so proud of you. And so cast off your restraint means to let go. You know that phrase, boy, she just let herself go. Boy, I can't believe how she just let herself go. Yeah, you let yourself go when you're hopeless. Women let themselves go when their husbands don't celebrate them, when their husbands don't nurture them, when they live in abuse. You'll see a woman who is very trim and slim and beautiful get married to an abusive man, and not long after that, you'll see her gain a lot of weight. She may go into the marriage dressing up and looking really good, and afterwards, she just dresses frumpy. She doesn't even try. She doesn't even care. She doesn't wear makeup anymore, which I'm not saying you have to. But you know how we tried. When we're young, we try because we have dignity. But when that dignity is taken from you, it shows. You give up. We need to be celebrated. We need to celebrate each other. But in the absence of that, we go to God and we get it there and find out, I want to study love for the rest of my life, because he who fears is not made perfect in love. And so if I still have fears, there's something about his love I'm not getting yet, because it's incredible. It's magnificent. It covers all the basis of my life. It's Psalm 91. It's where everything is given to us. It is my good pleasure to give you the entire kingdom now, right now. You can live in it full time. Download everything you need right now. But why can't we? Because of misconceptions of childhood that blind us to what's already been deposited in our account, what is rightfully ours. It belongs to us. He already said yes. And I believe that God already made his moves. We are not waiting on God. We keep saying that, and he's going, no, because it's your move. I already gave you all things that pertain unto life. All things. That means everything. And so all we have to do is see it with our spiritual sight. But the lies from childhood blind our spiritual sight. And that's one reason why I really discourage continual weighing yourself. When you weigh yourself, your earthly eyes get involved, engaged, and tell your body that it's hopeless, or that make you angry that you gained. The scale lies. It actually lies. And that's why they always say weigh at the same time of day, because it depends on the time of day as to what the scale is going to say. So why trust it? So it's all your, what's the word? Your ability to download what's inside the kingdom is based on how much you allow your physical sight to determine truth, or your emotions to determine what is real and what is true. So when the DNA and your blueprint that is in every single one of your cells is not allowed to be fulfilled, it will scream. It will roar. It will not accept not being fulfilled. And you won't know what's happening. You'll think it's just a physical issue. It just happened. It just seemed to happen. I have a weak heart, or I got cancer, as if cancer is some kind of a virus that's out there. It's going to get you. It can just jump on you all of a sudden for no reason whatsoever. No, not true. There's an emotional root to cancer. There's a reason why we get cancer, but it's emotional. It's not caught. It's not spread. It is believed on. And so a tumor is a collection of negative emotions that are so toxic that the body surrounds it with a sac so it doesn't kill the rest of the body. But we allow these negative emotions to rule our bodies until our bodies break down and we gain weight. All right, so actually cellulite is toxic. It's full of negative emotions. And so there's a way to get rid of it. I never thought of it before, but joy, no disease can live in the presence of joy. If we fed on a steady diet of joy, you know how fast your metabolism would heat up? I never thought about that till just now. How cool is that? But the world and its pressures and its ugliness, it pounds on us to try to rob that joy. That's why the Bible says to tear down every high thing, every high thought that exalts itself against the knowledge of God, which is up here. It's higher. It's a higher view. You have to stop looking with your senses, your earthly senses, in order to see what the truth is. And if there is a lie there, you can't even see it. It's got to be pulled. And that lie in the cells is not a fault of yours. It's not a flaw of yours. It's a sliver. Because children don't know how to process life. They don't understand how to think things through correctly. And so they always blame themselves for whatever the trauma was that happened to them. So all we have to do is go back and find it and pull it and replace it with the truth. And I will just tell you, I do this for a living. And when I take someone through an emotional cleansing and we pull that lie that is keeping them bound, I can't tell you the joy that comes over them and over me. I can feel what God feels for them. I can feel his heart for them. And I am crying, they are crying because they see the light finally. And when they come into the session, so we're on Zoom, and I can see them, they're heavy, they're, you can just see that lie is oppressing them. It's heavy. And then step by step, I lead them. And we don't just find the lie, replace it with the truth, the old Christianese. The opposite of the lie is this, because I memorized this a long time ago. That doesn't work. The soul and the body aren't like, oh, yeah, we've heard that a million times. It's not going to work. What we do is we ask Jesus to prove the truth. And when he proves it, oh my gosh, he stacks the deck so high. And that's why, he does it in many different ways, like 4 ways, 4 different ways. We surround that lie with the truth. We pound that lie into the ground, and then we yank it back out and stomp on it. And it is so obvious what the truth is. And by the time we get to the second proof, and they're very long decks of proof, when we get to that second one, when we're done with that, I ask the client, so let's go back and look at the lie and tell me if you think it's still true. And they'll laugh. They'll cackle like, oh my gosh, how ridiculous. That the enemy knew the exact lie that needed to be pounded into you to ruin your destiny, to rob you. And it makes me furious. It makes God furious. And that's why I'm a grave robber and a tomb raider, because I like to go and help other people get their territory back. That's what I do on every level, physically, emotionally, financially, weight loss, you name it. We're going to go after it, and we're going to get what rightfully belongs to you. And that's called the promised land. So when I can see the truth taking root. Once the lie is gone, I see the truth. So, they come into the session, they're talking soft, and it's very depressed. And then little by little, I see them sitting up in their chair. I see their eyes get wide. I hear their voice come up in pitch. I hear their voice talk faster. And then they're getting happy. You can see the joy replacing the depression. And then I go, but we're not done yet. But wait, here's the Ginsu knives, And so then we do it again. We stack it in another way. And once in this third way, oh, you've got to experience this. When they go through that third way, they almost lose it. They're like, oh my gosh. And I am privileged to see a transformation right before my eyes. Like resurrection life. I get to see firsthand resurrection life as a lifestyle. I get to experience it every time I do a session. and a person is reborn into their true destiny. And the chains come off. I can see the chains come off. And they look like they're ready to dance and twirl. And they're just raring to go. And they've got all these new ideas bursting. Because once you pull the lie that blinded you, you can see into the real world. You can see into the kingdom where anything is possible. And I can tell they think that anything's possible now as I'm watching them. And then the last thing I do is the icing on the cake, and I prophesy to them. What I had already written down matches what they just got from God. And then it is sealed, the deal is sealed, and they know beyond a shadow of a doubt it's over. The war on that point is over. And then the weight loss begins. And I've had it, I've seen it, where we pulled the right lie and the client began to lose weight because of it. So, 3 John 1:2, Beloved, I wish above all things and in all things that you would prosper and be successful in all things, even as your soul prospers. So the emotional realm hinders the spiritual realm on every aspect of life. So weight loss is spiritual, but it is hindered by the emotions and the physical. Because the physical is like the confirmation that the emotions were right. They're like, see, I told you, the doctor was right. I have cancer, or, you know, I have most of my arteries blocked. I have heart failure, all of those things. No, you don't. You have a broken heart. You have heart palpitations? Why wouldn't you? When you've been through what you've been through. How many times have you been betrayed? How many times have you been rejected in life? Your heart has scar tissue upon scar tissue upon scar tissue. And so the remedy, there's a remedy. You go into the kingdom and you find out what the lie was that you believed. That you weren't good enough, or they would have never done that. Or there's something about you that isn't right, or you just have to be better. All those things that the child, because it all began in childhood. Whatever happened in adulthood happened because the lie drew it. Because the lie is like a magnet that causes it to keep happening. So because of the lies that I believed I didn't count. I believed that I had to give the ship away, and that I did not deserve self-nurture or nurture from anyone. And so I just laid down my life for everyone. And so that makes you pitiful. That makes you despised. And so I was rejected my entire life up until 2012, when God came sovereignly and pulled those lies, and everything changed. It was like the sun came up for me for the first time in my life. And he knew he had to do an intervention for me, because I would not have been able to go on. I had it, you know, of course you would, right? So that's our free session for today. I would love to invite you to come and join the class. All the links are up in the top. And if you don't need to lose weight and you just want to learn how to pull your own lies, there's a link for that. Self-help emotional cleansing training. It's just $55, and I'm going to give you a bunch of bonuses if you do that today or this week. I will give you extra training videos and the whole step-by-step list of how to pull your lies. If you'd love to go into this work that I do, I would love to include you in our next group class that starts on May 2nd. And if you pay by May 1st, you get $200 off, I believe it is, or $100. I guess it's $100. All right. I keep lowering the price of the class so more people can afford it. And if you do get into the group training, then you can work with us, or you can have your own ministry, and it's an instant thing, and if you graduate and you're certified, we will refer people to you. As we get booked, we refer them to you. So I want to spread the good news of this, because we have to get unstuck, right? There is no more time. I keep saying that, but we know that because of what's going on in the world. We have to report for duty, but how can we if we're stuck? How can we run if we have chains? And the lies are chains that hold us back. All right, so I would be glad to help you pull your lies, but the goal is for me to multiply myself and spread this training. That's the goal, because I'm just one person. I want to just pass it on to you. And so if you want to learn how to pull your own lies and help other people, you can do the condensed. And I'm going to, fuel you with enough basic stuff that you're going to be able to do it. And sometimes it helps to have it done for you the first time, so you can really see it in action and see how it works. And we've had our second group training so far, and we have students that are almost ready that I can pass, people onto, just in case there is a flood of people wanting to book an emotional cleansing session. So I just found out that I have to move again. And so I'm not going to be able to take a whole lot of people, but we can set you up with our students. All right. So let me look through here. Is there anybody that has questions about what I just said? I know, Deb, isn't it? I mean, there is so much in this group training that I can teach you how to get rid of your own pain in your body in 5 minutes. Any situation I have where I injure myself, I can get rid of my pain in 5 minutes. And so to have that amazing knowledge, you can help yourself and your entire family. And again, I keep saying this, I wish somebody would take me up on it. I could train altar workers in a church. And once I did, that church would be known for a church where everybody gets healed. The whole city would know. The church would grow like crazy because people would go there to get healed. And it's just revelation knowledge and science that God gave me. So if you were a leader, call me. I'll do an online training for your group, for your staff. Hi, Nicole. Hey, Stacy, Rob, Janelle. Oh, Janelle, I miss you. Valerie, Lisa. All right, any questions? I'm looking through the chat to see if I can find anything. All right. Okay, so all the links are at the top of this whole thread. The weight loss class is at $33.33 one-time fee. You never have to pay that again, and you get all the 10 keys for weight loss. And this was the first one. I wanted to give this to everybody, give it to the public, so they understood that there's hope, that there can be change, and why we have weight gain, because of feeling unprotected in life, because of the fear of the future, because of feeling you're not good enough, so not self-nurturing. So the body thinks it has to nurture itself, or it has to protect itself with weight gain to as a buffer. All right, so that's something that a lot of people don't talk about, they don't understand. So you have to get the emotions taken care of before the weight's going to come off, before the body will agree to let go of it. Okay? There's all kinds of scientific reasons for weight gain, but it all goes back to the emotional. Okay, and once you understand what the truth is about your life and you get rid of that lie, you can get your vision back. You can get your dreams back. It's never too late. And I love seeing people pick those dreams back up. Like my 83-year-old mother. You know, her life was a horror movie, what she went through in childhood. And to see the healing take place in her, and she allowed me to do some sessions for her, and to see her see into the real world and see the truth and see visions and have healing right before my eyes. And then see her pick up her dreams and become an artist at 72 years old and learn to play the guitar at 74 years old. And she's still going strong, and she is not getting old at 83. She is not old. Dad's not old. They're still strong. They still act like 65. It all depends on your lifestyle, if your life is healthy and balanced emotionally. So there are many other things we're going to be talking about. And so I hope that you'll join the class. It starts this Thursday, the 25th, but you don't have to be there at the time of the class. You can always get it forever. So if you become a part of the class, you are admitted as a member into the group, the Facebook group, that's a closed group. And then it's all there, and you can watch the videos over and over and ask questions and support each other. That's what we're doing on a daily basis. Is I started kind of early because I wanted to get this excess weight off due to lack of self-nurture and overworking, especially working late at night. So every time I do that, I gain the weight back, and I don't take care of myself. I don't exercise. And so with this support group, we are reporting every day that we have what we're calling a burst method. And we report, I bursted today. I bursted 3 times today. And if you become a member of the class, then you'll find out what that means. But it is a really fast way to lose weight. And it's fun. And it involves worship too. So. All right, so anyway, so the official beginning of the Supernatural Weight Loss class starts the 25th. So it's this Thursday. However, if you can't make the time, you can get it anytime you want, because if you're a part of that group page, which is closed to the public, and you're a member, you get to get in there and watch the videos over and over and just chime in at any time. So you're not going to miss anything. All right, so, okay, bless you, and thank you again for being a part of my Easter and letting me share my heart with you and hopefully become a blessing to you. All right, okay, love you, bye.